Thank you for watching the Whittemore Community Magazine's Hour of Power Live on Facebook with your host Edward McQueen and April Garner.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Whittemore Community Magazine's Hour Power Live on Facebook. Brother Edward,
I'm getting it better than that. It's live.
You got some new music for us, huh? I know you were over there bopping. I saw you. You're like
straight from Sugar Hill.
It is close. It's straight from Sand Ridge. That's
Sand Ridge.
Yes. That beat was courtesy of Zoe Wilkes from the Sand Ridge community. Thank you so much.
Wow.
Some people call him Fred. We call him Zoe, but yeah, Zoe is a musician and he's always made music. He's a singer and he's got some big things going on. So
we got to stay connected with Zoe.
Oh, we do. We need some more stuff, right?
Stay connected with Zoe.
That was good stuff. I enjoyed that. Did y'all like that? Yeah, they're like, yeah, we like.
Yeah. No, but somebody's muted. Ellen, you're muted. Okay.
Yeah, she doesn't want to say anything right now.
Just so you're muted.
Sorry, they're supposed to be muted right now. We're the only ones talking. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
All right, brother. Go ahead and kick us off. Go ahead.
We use it. Normally, we start things off by showing some condolences and sending out our well wishes to all of our sick and shut in. Especially during these times. Okay, these are some crucial times, and we go by the jurisdictions. Or we try to go alphabetically, but sometimes you got to be a genius around here to do that. So we start off with places like Anna, and Allentown, and get with the B's.
Bayboro, and Burgess, Bucksport, Bucksville, Brown Ferry, Brown Swamp.
How about Hemingway?
Hemingway, we can jump on
jumping all the way to the H's, but that's okay. We'll deal with Hemingway.
Yeah, Hemingway, Carver's Bay.
Oh yeah.
Cool Springs.
Oh yeah.
Plantersville.
Yeah. Choppy.
Yeah, Choppy. Exactly. Maryville. There you
Jackson
go.
Village.
There you go. How about Little River?
Really? Now look, we're just limiting ourselves to the immediate area right now. But since we are global, you're by way of Facebook.
Say that again, Brother Edward.
Since we are global by way of Facebook.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Exactly. All right. Well, how about Little River?
My folks are down in Little River. That's my stomping grounds.
Okay. I guess that's her stomping ground. Little River.
Right.
There you go.
All right.
Mullins. Mullins in the house. Okay. Marion.
Yeah, Marion. Oh yeah. Come on. She's just trying to say something. I don't know what she's trying to say, but
no, I'm in Conway, so I'm local. I'm from a town called Orangeburg, so that's way out. That's all
right. People in Orangeburg listen. Yeah, they watch.
Hey, Orangeburg is on the map for us.
Exactly.
On the map. We continue with your North Myrtle Beach, South Myrtle Beach, Whoopee,
Georgetown, Merle's Inlet. Yep, Polly's Island. Loris, Greensea, Bingley, Longs. Yep, Longs.
Absolutely.
We can break down communities.
Tabor City, Whiteville.
You're going out there. You're going by Loris Way now. Okay.
Yeah, Gresham and Britton's Neck, Friendship.
Yeah, that's right.
Floyd.
The Greensea Floyd. There you go.
Yeah, absolutely.
There you go. All right.
So to our listeners, if we haven't called out your jurisdiction, just give us tap us in, chat, send it to us. Right, April?
Yes. As a matter of fact, just go ahead and put it in the comments. I can see your comments, and I will give shout outs. Dr. McIver, you're so busy, but you always take the time to watch us. Yes, the Hill in Conway. Thank you very much. Yes, absolutely. Michelle Nicole Kelly, she said Claflin University in the building. How about that?
I used to attend there.
Right.
Yeah, Claflin University in the building. So yeah, let us know where you're watching from. We want to know all about you. We want to know who's actually tuned in to hear this great information. Our discussion today with Ori
Absolutely.
Georgetown Technical College. My colleagues, my team, my crew. How y'all doing today?
Good.
You know, I mentioned on the email blast that there's a possibility about having no cost related to going to Ori Georgetown Tech or any junior college. You guys got to back me up on that.
No, a little cost.
I mean, there's a way to do that here.
Exactly. You know, Tahisha is the money, right? Tahisha's financial aid. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, we're going to let them introduce themselves in just a moment, but we definitely would like to thank everyone for tuning in today. And again,
Absolutely.
if you have any comments and questions for our guests, we have Ori Georgetown Technical College here on the Whittemore Community Magazine today. And each representative is going to tell you who they are and what they do at Tech. And then we're going to get into, we've got a whole lot to talk about, y'all. I mean, I asked for some questions and they gave me like 2 pages of stuff. I'm like, what? We do all this? Okay. So we're going to talk about all of these things. And of course, we're getting ready for back to school. I mean, a lot of people are still going to school now. It is the summer. Summer classes are happening. But of course, at Ori Georgetown Tech, our Maymester and summer sessions are online because of our COVID-19 situation that we have going on. And but we're gearing up for registration and enrollment for the fall, of course, and even there might be some chances for you to get in on our late summer semesters or, you know, classes that are starting. And we're going to talk about all of that today. So let's start at the top of the clock. We always start at the top of the clock. Ellen, can you give us your name, tell us what you do, and anything else you want to let us know in your intro?
Yes, thank y'all both for having us today. We're excited to be here and be a part of this. My name's Ellen Grooms. I'm the recruitment coordinator at HGTC. I've been here for about 5 years now. June makes 5 years. So it's been a while. It's a wonderful place to work. I'm from the area, went away to college, didn't go to college at Ori Georgetown, but since I've been back and have learned, you know, all these wonderful things about the school, I love sharing that information, just getting the word out. So again, thanks for having us, and we're looking forward to talking with y'all tonight.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Ellen. Tahisha.
Yes, ma'am.
How you doing today?
People with the money, boy, they always look wow.
Her pockets are deep. You got to go through Tahisha to get the money. I'm telling you.
And I hope all our young people are listening, so you know where to get the money. Okay. No, I'm serious. I want them to know because there's a lot out there, right, Tahisha?
That's right. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. What I do in the office, pretty much I handle a lot of the verifications if student gets selected for verification. I also do handle awarding, but we do it by alphabetical order. And also I work with Ms. April on federal work study. So
yes,
a lot of hands. So we juggling a lot of things in financial aid office, but we're making it happen and we're making sure the students are definitely satisfied and taken care of. I've been at Ori Georgetown Tech for about a little over 7 years now. So I went to Coastal after I left Claflin, and I ended up loving it. Ever since then, I've been staying in Conway.
All right. Yeah, Tahisha is absolutely a joy to work with, as well as Ellen. And I've had the special privilege to work with Ms. Jessica Nettles. She actually worked for me in career services, and then she stepped over to the recruitment side. I knew you were going to do that. Your first Ed Op event, I said Jessica is going to go to recruitment because she just absolutely loved being with the students and talking about Ori Georgetown Tech. So Jessica, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hey guys, my name is Jessica Nettles. I'm actually from Mullins, South Carolina. Anybody know where Mullins at? That's where I'm from.
Way back there.
Way back there. But I'm from Mullins, South Carolina. I didn't attend HGTC either, but I wish I would have. Now looking back, I think it's a great opportunity and students should definitely take advantage of it. When I'm out recruiting for the college, that's something that I always try to let them know that, hey, I went to a 4-year, but the 2-year schools have a lot of great options for you. So yeah, I'm happy to be here today and thank you so much for having me.
Well, all right. Wow. So how about that, Brother Edward? There's a lot of talent on here, right?
Yeah. I've got a question for Ms. Nettles. When you go out to try to recruit, exactly how, I guess you got to be well versed in that. Get some good training before you start going out there and being a people person. Do you say what are some of the keywords that you think catch on?
I think the keywords that catches on for a lot of students is cost. So when you start talking about money, that's something that's a big one. When you start talking about the length of the programs, that's another one, because a lot of students don't want to be in school for a long time. They want to be in school for as short of a period of time as possible and go into the workforce quickly. So they are
absolutely, yeah,
they love that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And I also try to bring up learning style. I went to a bigger university. So if you are the type of person who can't learn around a lot of people, I always tell them, yeah, come to a smaller college, because you're going to definitely have that one-on-one experience with your professor. And then also job security. I wish I had known this in college as well, but a lot of the industries, our programs that we have come with a lot of job security, especially in the advanced manufacturing field. Nursing, of course, our allied health sciences programs have a lot of job security, as well as other industries. So it's a lot of job security attending a 2-year college.
Yeah, and we're going to get into all of that as far as other benefits to attending a technical or community college. I do want to shout out a few more of our viewers today. Thank you so much for tuning in. DK Reeves, you said Sugar Bears. Where's Sugar Bears, Brother Edward?
Gresham.
That's Gresham? Okay.
Yeah.
She said Sugar Bears. I've never heard of it. So I'm I know where friendship is. So it's near friendship. Okay, I got you. And Raheem Frazier, thank you so much for tuning in. We appreciate you. Sabrina Moore, University of South Carolina, we appreciate you as well. Thank you so much for tuning in. Y'all spread the word, share the post, because we've got a lot of great information coming up. So let's kind of pull the conversation in a little bit and get back to what Jessica was talking about. You know, I know we're going to get into why HGTC is a good option for students, but why is it a good option to consider or either attend a technical or community college?
I think that it's a good option to attend a technical or community college, mainly because of just the small classroom sizes. A lot of students, they always say that, oh, I have a hard time learning. It's this. I don't think that, I don't have a long attention span. They always complain about that. So I always bring up the fact that think about your learning style, because if you're not used to being in a large classroom, going to a university is not something that may benefit you. Actually, I don't think that it benefited me being a first generation college student and going to a larger school. That wasn't a benefit to me at all. I should have started off at a smaller school. I also like to talk about the cost. So you can save a lot of money coming to HGTC, especially if you get that life scholarship. A lot of students get that life scholarship, and a lot of times
he's going to talk about that a little bit later. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
but a lot of times students get that scholarship, and that pays for about 95% of their tuition. So if most of your tuition is being covered in that first 2 years, then by the time you get to your 4-year college or progress in your studies, you've saved a lot of money. And I think that's a big thing, like saving money right now, because you want to make sure that you not only go into a field that makes money, but you don't want to be paying back a lot of college loans.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's cost effective. It's a great litmus test for college, especially if you're unsure about what you want to do. And I'm going to have Ellen to talk a little bit about some of the programs that are actually available. And, we deal with a number of different types of students. And I think that there's always the perception that there's a certain type of person that attends a technical or community college, when the reality is that actually it's all over the spectrum. I mean, we have the traditional student who is, straight out of high school. We have career changers. We have persons who are, just deciding that they really want something that's more sustainable, that's a career field. And so you guys deal with a lot whenever you're recruiting, and that there's a lot of information, Brother Eric, you're going to like this, that you have to propagate to people. That's his favorite word, y'all. That you have to propagate to people so that they understand how they fit into the culture of things. So Ellen, talk a little bit about that. What's our culture like? Not only just at HGTC, but also community colleges. What does the culture tend to be like?
That's a great question. It's a very unique culture. Like Jessica said, or actually Jessica and myself both went to University of South Carolina, so we had a similar experience. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and wonderful school. All of the college, really every college has something, to give to the student. It just, you have to find that right fit. But at our college in particular, the age ranges from 14 up until in the 70s. So we have students that start at Horry Georgetown while they're still in high school. They enter a program called PACE or one of the other dual enrollment programs. And then really, the bulk of our students are actually, relatively close to right out of high school. But the average age is 25. So you're going to see students of all ages in the classroom in all of the different programs. One thing that I wanted to add to Jessica's list of reasons to come to a technical college is the hands-on. I mean, she talked about classroom size, which is awesome. But the labs in the classrooms are so hands-on. It's not just sitting in the classroom taking notes, listening to somebody talk. You're actually welding, or you're working on a boat motor, or you're climbing an electrical pole if you're interested in the lineman program. I saw a comment about cosmetology. Someone's interested in the cosmetology program. There is a working salon on our Conway campus. So you are dealing with the people. You're building your network of clients before you ever graduate from Horry Georgetown. So I think we pride ourselves in the hands-on factor. I think it's really important. Of course, with COVID-19, it's been an adjustment, and they've done, a lot of online stuff, and then we're coming back slowly to kind of make up the lost hands-on time. I mean, you can't replace that. It's something that you're not going to get at a 4-year college, no matter what major you go into, that you're guaranteed to get at Horry Georgetown for a fraction of the price. So that's something that I think is really cool. If you're not necessarily someone that just wants to listen to somebody in a classroom, you can find something here at HGTC.
Exactly. And then two, it's a good training or preparation ground for that transition to the senior institution or the 4-year institution, because we have a lot of students who will do that. They'll actually attend Horry Georgetown Tech for up to 2 years because they're working on their associate in science or associate in art, and then they're ready to transfer to a senior institution. And we have a lot of articulation agreements with colleges all across the state. Talk a little bit about that, Ellen.
Yes, we do. We have two different types of students. We have our transfer students, as you're talking about, that are doing typically it's 2 years with us and then 2 years to finish out that 4-year degree. But we also have students who are already enrolled at 4-year colleges and just come back for a summer or for one semester. Maybe you're enrolled in a 4-year right now, but with all this going on, you don't want to go back to that 4-year. You can enroll at Horry Georgetown and just take a few classes that are definitely going to transfer. But for the ones that are coming right out of high school, it's a really good way to just take your basic classes. You don't even necessarily have to you have to declare a major, but you don't, it doesn't have to be something specific. It can be something very general that allows you to take English 101, Math 101, maybe a psychology class, maybe a computer class, basic stuff that you're going to need at that 4-year college. And again, the cost, I know we're going to talk about costs a lot, but fraction of the cost. So you're not going to build up those student loans, and you're still going to get the same credits. So when you go to that 4-year, you're not going to have to worry about them. So a great way to get your feet wet for sure. If you're thinking about college, you're not 100% sure if it's for you, come to Horry Georgetown. We'll help kind of walk you through the process. It's a little bit more one-on-one. We'll take care of you. And then you can go on to that 4-year.
Brother Edward, I work in career services at Tech, and I know that you and I always have conversations about workforce development. It's one of the things that your program does with the summer jobs program to help young people understand what they have to look forward to in the workforce. And, even over the summer, a few weeks out of the summer, it gives them some preparation for what the work world is going to be like. So, when it comes down to workforce development, I think that a 2-year environment or technical and community college is also a great way for us to pretty much fill that funnel in the workforce. It's a good way to fill the funnel. And because, students are able to get into programs and earn a degree, a diploma, a certificate, and then move into the workforce very quickly, just like Jessica and Ellen said. And, that's what employers are looking for. When business and industry wants to come to this area, they want to know that there are people who are ready to work and qualified to work.
Right. Right. They want less training expenses as they possibly can. Okay?
Exactly.
Even though training is good, but, some people come ready. Some manufacturers come ready, to hire people I guess you guys can back me up on that, on that statement.
And yeah, he's right. And, you know, and then Brother Edward, I mean, I don't know how much you shared with them prior to the show, but, you know, you have an engineering background. So I'm sure you can understand how important it is from that technical skill and hands-on experience standpoint for people to consider, you know, a community or technical college, even if they're trying to get into your civil and industrial engineering programs. And you know, so it's amazing that the community and technical colleges are actually kind of the lifeblood of the workforce. Not that four-year colleges aren't. We're not saying that by any means, because all of us have, you know, been to four-year universities. But I agree with Jessica. If I'd known then what I know now, I probably would have started at a technical or a community college and then use the four-year universities as like a, you know, a way to get my advanced degrees sooner, you know, that type of thing.
Yeah, I think that's the way to go. If you have technology on your mind and you want to major in something that's technical, you know, go to a junior college or technical college and get those basics, and that makes all the difference in the world. If you decided to go on and get a bachelor's degree and a BS degree in one of the engineering curriculums or one of the engineering branches, that is the best way to go. I think and correct me if I'm wrong, I think Horry Georgetown Tech has a civil technology program, that civil engineering technology, I believe. Yeah, that is one of the best things any young person could do. Okay, you could, because if circumstances arrive and you find out that you don't have the time or the money or the resources to continue on after you get a degree in civil technology, that field is still wide open. You can go and they would gladly hire you. Okay, because we're talking about just you're going out on the road, you're surveying, a surveyor, you're building developments, stuff like that, and even construction. Okay, there's money that's a very good field, especially in this area, which is booming now. And I don't think that they can find enough civil technicians. We call them technicians since, you know, they didn't go and get a bachelor's, but if you have an associate's degree, you know, they'll just call you, you know, civil technician, but they depend on you so very, very much. Okay. As opposed to a person going on and getting a bachelor's degree in civil engineering, for example. But the branch is, you know, I think it's wide open.
Yeah, I can add on to that a little bit. You bring up such a good point. In the engineering department, we have civil engineering, technology, electrical engineering, and general engineering. So several different ways you can go there. But the fact of the matter is, if you know you go to a four-year college and you get 2 years in and something, I mean, life happens. You know, not everybody successfully completes it. Maybe you fail out. Maybe you have death in the family and you have to be at home, or you run out of money. You don't know. You're going to graduate, or you're not going to graduate from that college, obviously, and you're going to have nothing. So, you know, if you start out with tech, and it's not just with engineering, but I mean, digital arts is the same way. Really, all of the programs are the same way. But actually, I saw one of our coworkers is on here right now, Carlos Parker. I know for a fact that while he was working for the college, he actually went through the digital arts program. So he took his time and he was able to work full time and to take that program as well. So you have so much more flexibility. And if life does happen, something happens and you need to push pause, it's okay. And you can come back, and it's not a hard process to come right on back.
And I think people also use the community and technical college as a way to actually get ahead, because a lot of students who are attending four-year colleges may even come to tech, for example, to take summer classes so they can get ahead and, you know, shorten their time at their senior institution. So, you know, there's so many different ways that you can be creative with how you want to, I guess, create your career path and your education path to your career goal. And, you know, people really should not underestimate technical and community colleges. There's no stigma attached to it. You know, if anything, it's a way to make sure that when you do move on to a four-year university, You're going with little or no debt, and we're going to get to the money woman in a minute, and talk to her about financial aid. But yeah, it's just one of those things that could be a reasonable part of your plan. So another question that we have for you all, as far as recruiting is concerned, and then we're going to get into the admissions part as well. Roadblocks for students. What kind of roadblocks do they run into when they're considering the college experience, and how can Horry Georgetown help? And even, what have we been doing in the midst of even this COVID-19 crisis?
So I think that a lot of the roadblocks that students encounter whenever I'm meeting with them in recruitment is what type of career to choose. And so I'm big on pushing Kristen in our office as far as getting career counseling prior to them applying, just because that's going to help them make better decisions. And that's something that I've been doing through the Gator chats as well. It's just making sure that students are in contact with Kristen beforehand, so they're making that career decision on the front end and not so much of the back end. So just choosing a career sometimes is overwhelming for students. Another question that is a roadblock for them is, how am I going to pay for it? So of course, I'm always throwing out the scholarship opportunities that are available. For example, if one of our students wanted to get involved in one of our workforce development programs, a lot of times, such as with Santee Cooper in our electrical lineman program, Santee Cooper built that program, so they give out a scholarship for that program, and that's something that will help out students if they are interested in that particular program. So they always are concerned about money, but I try to make sure that they understand that money does not have to be a problem. And then, of course, another roadblock is just, am I going to be able to talk to my teacher? Like, this is college. It's not high school anymore. So a lot of students are kind of overwhelmed about, what's the communication style like with professors? And so I'm always like, well, your professor is going to be very open. It's always an open door policy. A lot of times when I'm having students tour the Advanced Manufacturing Center, I always bring up the fact that Jeff Ball, you can just walk right into his office and say hello, and he'll be right there to help you. Or even Tim. So it's just one of those things where I try to make them feel as comfortable as possible and let them know that, hey, learning style, money-wise, you're going to be fine at HGTC. We're going to make sure we all work together to make sure that you're supported, not only while you're applying for the college, but also whenever as you go through the college. So letting them know about those support services as well is very, very important whenever I'm talking to students also.
Mm-hmm, absolutely. So admissions, I think people probably have a lot of natural questions about the admissions process and, what they need to do now, because I know that we've been putting a lot of information out there, but probably unsure about what we really have going on and how they can be helped. So, Ellen, you want to talk about, the admissions funnel and the first steps, what they need to do?
Absolutely. So it's pretty simple. First step, number one, you have to apply to the college. Of course, you can do that online. Everybody's doing just about everything online these days, especially with all this going on. So the website is hgtc.edu/apply. If you just Google HGTC or Horry Georgetown Technical College, it'll pop right up. There's always a big button on there that says apply now. You can click right there. It's a relatively simple application. It typically costs $30 to apply to Horry Georgetown Technical College, but for our listeners tonight, we are going to waive that fee. Again, $30 savings if you use the code HGTC 2020. It's capital HGTC 2020. That will save you the $30 application fee, so you can apply for free. So if you like what you're hearing tonight and think, or you've been thinking about it, and you just don't know when the best time is, now's the best time because it's free. There's nothing to lose. There's no space in between HGTC and 2020, just to clarify that. So just start with the application. Don't submit your application until it's completely filled out. We don't want any incomplete applications because it can mess up some things on our end as far as residency. It makes the process just a little bit longer. So make sure it's fully complete, and then submit it. From there, typically the next step is submitting some kind of test score. But actually, with all of the COVID-19 stuff going on, we are waiving the test score typically we accept SAT, ACT, or something called AccuPlacer, which is just our placement test. So you don't have to have an SAT or ACT score. You can just come to campus and take that test. But right now you don't have to do any of them. But you do have to give us your high school transcript as soon as possible. So we're basically just going to admit you according to your high school transcript rather than the test score. So the faster that you can get those high school transcripts to us, the better. If you have any previous college, we're going to want those transcripts as well. And then you're pretty much admitted based on that. From there are, some additional steps, one of them being meeting with an academic advisor, or what we call a new student development coordinator. And you can do that virtually now too. So making it easy for everybody at home, stuck at home. You can just email advisor@hgtc.edu to set up an appointment. They are doing something like this, a virtual video chat, one-on-one appointment, so you can get advised academically online. And they can kind of talk you through different classes that are available online. Everything, like April said, everything for the summer is online right now. But fall will be looking a little bit different, hopefully. But they can, answer just general questions for you, kind of walk you through the process, maybe the transfer process if you are planning to transfer to a 4-year, and then help you get registered for classes. So it's not too hard of a process, really. Getting the high school transcript, probably the most time consuming thing, and then the FAFSA, which I'm going to save for Tahisha, of course. That can take some time, but that's really how it's working right now. So it's not a hard process. You can start tonight and be enrolled by our second summer session. Our first big summer session started today, but the next one I believe is June 22nd, if I'm not mistaken. I didn't write it down, but I'm thinking it's June 22nd. So plenty of time to get signed up by then. And then of course for fall, if you do an application tonight, it will be totally good for fall as well.
All right. So you may have mentioned them, but what virtual resources are available for someone during the COVID-19 pandemic? Can you talk about, for example, again, the virtual campus tours, virtual open houses, student support services are still available? Can you talk a little bit more about that?
Sure. So we're doing a few things differently right now. One of them, obviously you can't come to campus to do a campus tour, unfortunately, but we have a virtual tour for all 3 of our campuses. And I have to say that we do have stunning campuses. Everybody does a really good job of keeping them clean and classrooms up to date, technology up to date. So it's worth taking a look. You can check out the virtual campus tour on our website. If you had a virtual reality headset, you can do it with that. It makes it a little bit more exciting. If not, you can just do it with your regular browser or cell phone. So that's available for you, but a different initiative is called Gator Chats. It started about the time the whole COVID-19 thing began, and that is essentially a one-on-one session with our recruiter, Miss Jessica Nettles. We're doing 2 time slots a day right now. You can sign up on the website. I didn't write that link down, but it's on our website. If you just click on the Visit Campus button on our website, or there's a bar that's scrolling across on the main page, it says Gator Chats. It's a one-on-one session, just kind of talking about the things we're talking about tonight and in your specific situation. So I know I mentioned this. I saw somebody had a daughter interested in cosmetology, and they want to just talk about cosmetology for 30 minutes or so. That's what that's for. Jessica can also walk you through the admissions process again, more about financial aid, really just anything you need. That's what we're here to help with. So Gator Chats are available for you. What am I missing? Again, the virtual advising is going on. We have done at least one open house. I'm sure we're going to do another open house before all this ends. But the first one that we did is just an information session really about online classes, and that's available on our Facebook page right now. It's a Facebook Live setup, but it's on there recorded. So.
All right. And I know from a career services standpoint, we have College Central Network, which is our online career management system. And that's what we use to connect with students and alumni to help them with their professional document development, such as cover letters and resumes. It's also a way for them to make appointments with us if they want to talk about, everything from soup to nuts when it comes down to career services, how to ace the interview, how to network at job fairs. And now we're gearing up with some virtual sessions, and we actually have a couple of virtual, I call them hiring events, virtual campus hiring events is what I've been calling them. And we have some employers who want to do that with us, and I think that's great. So May 27th and 28th, we will have some medical employers who are going to be meeting with our students virtually and to talk about the options that they have as far as employment, and also to just kind of get into what it takes to really be a good candidate for a position. So it's going to be, a very good learning experience, but also an opportunity for them to network and actually possibly get called in for an interview, because they'll have a chance to submit resumes and all that good stuff whenever they are, networking with the employer of the day. Now, I know you mentioned Gator Chats, and I wanted to make sure to show everybody our mascot. I don't know that a lot of people know that we actually have a mascot now. So yeah, we have a mascot. I'm just going to flash him on the screen real quick. No, it is not the student on the left. It is the gator on the right. It's the gator on the right. What's the gator's name?
Chomp.
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 Yeah. I forget that nobody knows about our mascot, because it was just announced like the week before this all happened. So that's where Gator Chats comes from.
Exactly. So yeah, we have a little mascot there, and he can dance too. I'm gonna find that footage, and I'm gonna play that footage one day.
I got some good footage of him dancing.
Yeah, he's really good. All right, so I think we talked about transferring to a 4-year college as an option, but let's get into that a little bit more, because we may have some partners, some articulation partners that are watching. And of course, we love our collaborations and articulation partnerships with the colleges and universities, major colleges and universities across the state. So Ellen, you and Jessica, either one. Ellen, you want to talk about that a little bit?
Sure. Yeah, several of the 4-year universities we have what we call 2+2 agreements with. Coastal Carolina University obviously is right across the street from our Conway campus, so it's going to be where we have the majority of these 2+2 agreements. But that's just one of them. Of course, USC, Francis Marion University, we have several with, Charleston Southern, Clemson. One of the engineering programs actually transfers down to the Citadel. I know we've had at least one student that went down to the Citadel after completing an engineering program. So it's a pretty long list to kind of go through before you get enrolled. But I will say too that you don't have to be a part of the articulation agreement to transfer to a 4-year. You can just go into a general major and do 2 years of general classes and then transfer into a major that we might not have the perfect 2+2 agreement with, but we can still make it work. Just off the top of my head, one of the biggest ones I know is nursing. We have a ton of nursing students. That's our most popular allied health program. And a lot of students, local students in particular, they think they are going to go straight into Coastal Carolina University for nursing. And a lot of people don't know, but that's actually not an option. So the Coastal Carolina does not have an RN program or a registered nurse program. They will only take students who have already completed their RN. So if you are a local student and you're interested in going into nursing, you actually have to come to Horry Georgetown Tech first to do our nursing program, and then Coastal will immediately accept you into their BSN or their Bachelor's of Science in Nursing. So that's just one example. The list really kind of goes on and on. Jessica, I don't know if you want to add anything to that. But
I was just going to add one, because sometimes I promote the business administration program that we have. We have a 2+2 business administration program. I know a lot of students are interested in business. You can do 2+2 business with Coastal Carolina, and then do 2 years at HGTC, another 2 years at Coastal, and then in 1 year you can get your MBA. Or we just signed a new agreement with Coker. I think they're Coker College still. But right down in Hartsville, we just signed a new agreement with them. So you can also transfer into Coker College as well.
That's awesome. All right. So
could please go over that MBA, that step, really, because that's really awesome. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
If you would kindly go over that again, starting from over Georgetown Tech and then matriculating to the MBA program.
Okay, perfect. So yeah, if you're interested in coming to HGTC for business administration, you can come to HGTC for 2 years, get your associate in business administration. Then you can go finish your next 2 years out at Coastal Carolina, and then you have a bachelor's in business administration, and then you can finish in 1 year with your MBA at Coastal Carolina. So in 5 years, you'll have 3 degrees. And usually when I sell that, students are like, oh my God, 5 degrees and 3 degrees in 5 years? That's cool. And I'm like, yeah, it is. It's really a steal. So definitely always want to let students know about those opportunities as well.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. That's a good, step-by-step scenario there that it would, if I were finishing high school, I'd be attracted to that. I really would. I really would be attracted. So what kind of finances are we really talking about? If I were an average student, okay, and not qualifying for a lot of grants by way of my good grade, my average grades, stuff like that. So I guess this is directed to the financial aid person.
Ms. Tahisha, yes.
So you're asking me a question for a new student who have attended college, or?
Well, I kind of place myself in that scenario as a follow-up. I'm trying to get that MBA program on board. Now, if I'm an average student, say I'm a C+ student, and right away I think in my mind I'm not qualifying for a lot of grants or a lot of scholarships by virtue of my average grade, as opposed to a person who's an A+ student. How can you direct me to get the necessary money to matriculate the way that through that MBA program that Jessica talked about?
Well, it all depends on the student. Like, even if you're not an A+ student, and let's say you're a C+, it depends on the FAFSA too. Each student would need to complete a FAFSA just to see what kind of federal funding they can get. And that's not based on the GPA per se. When you complete a FAFSA, it's asking you about your financial information in the household, such as if you're a student, if you're under the age of 24, most students under the age of 24 have to include their parent information. So that means that including your information as well as the parent. Now, with students, let's say if they're over the age of 24, that's only their financial information only. So each year they ask for new financial information when it comes to your taxes. Like right now in summer, so students have to complete a 2019-2020 FAFSA. So with that FAFSA, that means that's relating to 2017 financial. Now, for the new upcoming fall, students have to complete a 2020-21 FAFSA. So with that FAFSA, that's related to 2018 financials. Now, right now, the FAFSA Department of Education changed their mind and said, okay, when it comes to the FAFSA, we're going to backdate 2 years prior. That way we won't run into issues where students are saying they haven't filed their taxes yet, or their parents haven't filed their taxes. Now, an independent student will get more financial aid than a dependent student in certain areas. And that's only because they take more of the burden. And what I mean by that is a dependent student, you have your income plus your parent. But as an independent student, it's just you. So there's only one financial. With that, and also there's an age requirement. In order to be independent, you have to either be married, I think before the age of 24, have children you support, and that's a lot to do at under the age of 24 to be independent. So in order for you to be independent before the age of 24, you have to have a lot going on already. So how financial aid works is, if let's say there's no income in the household, that's when the student is eligible to get the Pell Grant. The Pell Grant can give you about between 2 semesters. I would say if you have the 0 unmet need, which is the estimated family contribution, which means after you finish the FAFSA, they're going to calculate a number based on the income you report on the FAFSA to determine if you're fully eligible for Pell Grant, or if you're partially eligible for Pell Grant, or if you're not eligible for Pell Grant at all. For some students, they are not eligible for Pell Grant. Pell Grant at a 2-year school is going to pay majority of your tuition. When you go to a 4-year school, it's a little different because you're looking at the cost. Now, if you look at the cost of our college right now, if you're in-state, in-county, full-time is about $2,200. And if you can get $6,000 in Pell for fall and spring together, that's averaging about, if you're full-time, about $3,000. So it's already going to pay, your tuition if you're in state, in county. If you're out of county, I think the rate is a little different, like by $400, and out of state is of course higher. But of course, just like if you go to a 4-year, out of state tuition is higher as well. But our out of state tuition is really not that bad. I think ours was around $4,300 if you was at a 4-year. I remember attending Coastal, and that was about 7 to 8 years ago. I think in-state was $5,000 or $6,000. I think right now it's close to 6 or 7 when it comes to just the tuition alone. So if a student is being diligent on completing their work properly, if they finish the classes, don't have to retake courses, they should be able to get the Pell Grant until they actually finish the 4-year program, because the Pell Grant will only cover you until you get your bachelor's degree, unless you already been to college, let's say 6 years or more. If it took you that long to complete your program between our school and a 4-year school, then you're going to run out of the Pell Grant funding. Now, another example, let's say if the student was not eligible for Pell Grant, which is another kicker, and let's say the student has not the unmet need to receive Pell Grant. Well, at a 2-year school, students get lottery assistance. Lottery is covering close to half of the tuition. Then if you're in a career-driven program, those students a lot of times get career funds, which helps pay the tuition, and some of them get workforce funds, which help pay the tuition. So a lot of times they don't have to pay that much when they're at our school. But the difference is when they transition into the 4-year schools, that's when the price changes, where they have to be like, okay, I have to be diligent on what I take. What I mean by that is the loans. So if you know your school is getting paid for you while you're at a 2-year, it's best and wise for a student to not take out any federal loans until they have to at the 4-year. Now, some students are in a situation where they have to take it because of financial reasons, such as housing, but you want to be mindful of how much you take so you can have enough when you go to the 4-year or getting your master's degree.
Tahisha, so let's kind of back it up a little bit for everyone who may not be familiar with all of the terms that kind of go along with financial aid. So, based upon what you're saying, that financial aid is important for attending college, whether you're 2-year or 4-year, because it provides the student with free and borrow funding to help them pay for college, right? Okay, and so then you mentioned several types of financial aid funding. There's the free federal aid, such as Pell Grants. There's also South Carolina need-based grants, and then the FSEOG, which is that's also a need-based grant as well.
Yes, ma'am. All those are federal need-based grant based on you completing the FAFSA. Then there's state aid, which is lottery. Workforce, all those things are granted each year by the state to say, hey, we want to give back to the students. And a lot of times that's at the 2-year. I'm not sure if the 4 years offer that, but I think lottery is mainly at the 2-year colleges, and some of those career workforce are designated to 2 years, because in order for you to have the career scholarship or the workforce, you have to be career driven. For example, if they're doing welding, that's a career driven, program.
And the lottery is beneficial for students who cannot receive financial aid due to their income. So kind of like what you were talking about as far as exhausting your Pell, or maybe, you've maxed out on loans or whatever the case is, and you're looking for some money for school. That's why we have the South Carolina lottery, education lottery, because it provides these funds.
I think right now lottery is paying $110 per credit hour. So if you're an in-state, in-county student, I think tuition full-time is $1,200. So you can get almost, I think, $1,320 in lottery by itself. If you think about it, that's over half of your tuition. It's already taken care of you. Then if you have a career-driven program like we was talking about, like welding or lineman, you may get additional funding from career, and career have career books, but it's not always guaranteed every year, because they have new programs that's introduced for us every year when it comes to those scholarships.
Absolutely. So the requirements for financial aid, can you go over those for us?
Yes. The biggest requirement I would say for any student to do is make sure they complete the FAFSA. But when you're completing the FAFSA, they're going to ask you key questions. Some of those key questions on the FAFSA is going to ask you, do you have a high school diploma or GED? If you have one or the other, then you should be able to get federal funding. But if you don't have that, that's going to put you in a situation where you cannot, unfortunately, get the federal financial aid. Another requirement is being a citizen or an eligible non-citizen. Now, everyone knows what a citizen, a U.S. citizen is, but then there's the eligible non-citizen, which is a student where their parents may not be from America, but they were born into America and they went through the procedures through immigration and they were considered an eligible non-citizen, and they submit the paperwork through admissions and residency to make sure that's clear. And on our side, we can see that they're considered an eligible non-citizen, and in the FAFSA, they make sure to dictate that they're eligible non-citizen. They are actually eligible for the same aid as a U.S. citizen.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Now, if
all right.
Situation where it's a DACA student, unfortunately, they're not going to be eligible for federal aid because they haven't went through the immigration process of being an eligible non-citizen. Because I know that probably could be a question as the DACA students.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So earlier, Jessica kind of mentioned, well, she hinted or talked about the types of scholarships that are available. There's the Life Scholarship and also HGTC as a scholarship. Can you talk a little bit about those?
Yes, ma'am. The HTC scholarship is like the scholarship for all vendors that's affiliated with our college. So that means the student would do the online application. The new application is available online now. It has deadline dates for student to complete it. A student can complete it now. It doesn't change anything. It's just a first come, first served basis. Because what these vendors do is they look at the information the student put. Let's say they volunteered somewhere doing community service. All that can play a part on them getting the scholarship as well as their career. What are they wanting to do with college? And that can benefit the student on getting maybe $500 to $1,000 or $1,500. And they can be getting that per semester plus their regular financial aid.
Mm-hmm. Yep, absolutely.
And all this money out there.
Yeah, there's a lot of money out there.
I mean, it blows my mind.
But people have to apply early. They have to make sure that they're submitting their forms, and there's something called being subject for verification, being selected for verification. What is that all about, Tahisha? I know a lot of people hear that all the time.
Okay, being selected for verification means once you submit your FAFSA, it takes about 7 to 10 days for the college to receive the FAFSA. Some students are selected based on the information they put on the FAFSA. Prime example, some students forget to try to use the data retrieval tool, which links over your tax information. Some students, unfortunately, can't do it because their taxes are not outlined with their marital status. I can give an example of that. If a student put that they filed head of household, but they've been married for 10 years, that's going to flag them for verification because the Department of Education, in their mind, they're thinking, whoa, based on IRS standards, you're supposed to be filing married, filing joint, married, filing separately. So that process can hold the student up for 4 to 6 weeks because it depends on when the students submit the documentation to us. Once they submit everything to us and everything is uploaded, and right now students can do all this online. They don't have to come into the office for anything. We have FA Solutions, which take our calls. And in particular situations where they call FA Solutions and they may have a problem, they will then the customer service representative will generate an email that will go directly to financial aid, which our main person to handle that in our office is Ms. Debbie. And she'll send the counselor an email saying, hey, this student has a problem. Can you talk to them? Can you email them and discuss what's needed? And the process is not really hard. It's just about submitting the documentation properly and in a time frame where we can get everything done. For the new upcoming year for fall, we always tell students, if you know you're going to be attending fall, you should be having your FAFSA done as soon as possible because it's relating to 2018 taxes. So that has been filed at least 2 years ago. So really, if you know you're going to be attending school fall, I would suggest having your FAFSA done January or February because the aid is first come, first serve. Normally, we don't start awarding to July, but the system is going to go off all the students who's finished. Let's say July 1st run, and you're still working on your verification because you're submitting the documentation so late. Well, all the students who have finished everything, they're getting awarded. They're getting the need-based, the SCOG. But once that money runs out, we cannot give it to you unless there's additional funding. Now, the Pell Grant is a little different. That funding won't run out unless you're at a place where you maxed out on the Pell. But the SCOG, the South Carolina Needs-Based Grant, those are first come, first serve.
So, I think you kind of talked about or touched upon the challenges of receiving financial aid. Being selected for verification means that there is probably some inaccurate information or not enough information. And so, one of the points that you made when we were discussing what you would talk about today is that, students shouldn't take any chances with the FAFSA. They should actually not try to guess, their information. They can use the data retrieval tool to make sure that they're pulling the information from the appropriate tax documents so that the information is accurate and that the applications can be processed in a timely manner, because that's usually what also causes stress and frustration when a student is ready to start classes and their money isn't available. The college does offer deferment plans, but you still have to have money for the deferment plans when you could, very well have gotten your documents together and not even have to worry about that. And then, of course, another challenge that we talked about is just the communication between the student and the college. Namely, the college has a way of communicating with students that they don't always embrace or they don't understand. And so that typically causes some challenges as well. So you want to talk a little bit about the WaveNet account and why it's important for students to make sure they're checking that on a regular basis after they've applied?
Yes, ma'am. So the WaveNet for a student, it pretty much gives them all the information relating to the student account department, admissions, financial aid, register, anything that needs to be done for their college for the upcoming semester or the academic year. They should be able to check it once they're able to actually have an active WaveNet account. Not only the student log in, they'll go to my student tab. For our office, they'll see a big red box that says financial aid requirements, and they just have to select the academic year, even the semester, and it will tell them what requirements are available. And a lot of our requirements are online now. So what all they do is just click the link and they'll say, okay, I just need you to upload documentation. Because that's a big thing we do now, which is uploading, meaning the student can take a picture and pretty much they'll upload that picture onto the attachment and the documentation will get to our office. And the WaveNet, it sends you emails. It sends all the students emails each week in our office saying, hey, reminder, you have these requirements. Please complete a reminder. You have the requirements. And I think we also have it now in our office where students receive texts even about requirements that's needed. But the WaveNet is our primary communication. When a student is selected for verification and the counselor has reviewed the file, I will send them an email to their WaveNet, and my email is always encrypted. That's another big thing that students are not familiar or used to. Encrypted emails, you have to have the latest Microsoft Office software to be able to review it. And we have Text Central, which helps the student with that process and procedure. So if a student emailed me saying, hey, I can't get into the encrypted email, I'll back off all the information because student information is private in our office. We cannot provide anything. So I'll back the information off and put Text Central. I'll tell them who I am and please contact Text Central so you can review my encrypted email. And then the student will go from there and they should be able to then review my email. So that's another big issue we have too sometimes.
And then also the college hosts, College Goal. That's, one great time when parents can come in and actually get support or receive help in completing the FAFSA. And I think even Delta Sigma Theta has their, it's like a College Goal type or a college application type program that they host every single year. So you don't even have to wait for those types of days, Brother Edward. If anyone who's interested would just reach out to the college, somebody will be able to give them some, specific information about how to get this money, how to make sure that they have the funding that's available, for school. And like she says, it's first come, first serve. So the earlier you apply, the more money you can have for school.
Well, I guess the key here is getting the information out to parents. Is that correct? Because, and even when you get it out to them, if they're incapable of assisting their child with what's called a FAFSA, a free application for federal student aid, I'm glad you had that written down there, by the way.
So many people say FAFSA.
Yeah,
they leave out the other F. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, does it present a challenge to you all in financial aid that you can't seem to connect with the parent or the child in terms of filling out financial aid forms? So what do you do there?
Well, it all depends on the particular situation. Like, for instance, some students, they're in a situation where they haven't started the FAFSA and they want to know the process. A lot of times it can start with the high school. Like for the high school students, they have the high school guidance counselors. Those counselors really reach out to me and let me know the situation or tell the student or parent. And I kind of go over things with them and let them know, hey, this can happen and that can happen. And right now, to be honest, even though we're working from home, I still take calls. So with a lot of students that are having issues, my number is available online for them to call and contact me and let me know what are the issues they're having and what kind of problems they're having. And sometimes we have some students where they can't explain the information themselves because they're new, they're just trying to understand the process. So a lot of times I say, hey, how about you have your mom around you and let's do a 3-way call or something so I can explain it to you and your parent at the same time, as long as you give me permission to speak to your parent, because I can't do it without that permission. Now, a lot of our students, they fill out the FERPA waiver, of course, for a lot of their parents anyway, so the information can be discussed with the parent. But some students forget to fill out the FERPA waiver or have not completed. So in those particular situations, I need the student to address their personal information to me so I can make sure I'm speaking to the student, get the authorization from the student, and then speak to the parent while the student is there directly.
Again, I think this parental support, I think that's key. And I keep saying that because, I'm sure there are a lot of cases, may not be a lot, but there are cases where parents just apparently give up, okay? If they have a child or children where they just don't seem to connect with each other, but yet that child has potential. Like every child has potential. And then the parent just gives up. That presents a predicament that I don't know how you all would handle that.
We try to encourage them to actually hey, this is free money your student, your child could be getting. So if you don't help them get the money, they're going to lose out on this funding. So a lot of the parents, to be honest, they cooperate. They kind of have a moment where they don't want to, because let's just be honest, nobody likes sharing their personal information, like their social security number or their marriage status, what's going on, whether they separate and married. And I deal with that all the time.
And the application is kind of hard. I mean, there's a lot, there's a lot to that application. So sometimes
and that's I think that's my point. Okay. Just like what you just said, April, filling out that application is difficult for most people.
It's intimidating.
It's intimidating. And I was wondering, would do those challenges become huge for you all? Because that's easy for a parent to give up. And then sometimes I guess it's frustrating for you all sometimes when you think you've gotten over to the parent and the parent comes in and calls you right back again and says, no, I don't understand. But that's life. But at the same time, there should be ways of mitigating that kind of frustration.
Yes. And I'm used to it, to be honest. A lot of times when parents, they want to talk or have an issue where they can't discuss it in front of the student, long as that FERPA waiver is in place, I can address a lot of the situation that may be going on. And unfortunately, some parents don't always tell their child everything that's going on. But if your FAFSA includes the parent information, I have to have that parent side as to what's going on. And it's just about making the parent feel comfortable. If the parent don't feel comfortable talking to you, that's a lot of times where the parent may be apprehensive on speaking. But a lot of times I don't have issues, to be honest. They just love talking. I love to smile a lot, so they get used to it. Or be laughing on the phone.
Well, that's good. I'm glad to hear that. I'm really glad to hear that. That those kind of issues that I brought up are not very frequent or prevalent a lot. And that's good to hear that, most parents are cooperating. That's a plus.
I think that's one of the, I've been with Horry Georgetown Tech for 10 years, 10 and a half now. And I think that's one of the benefits that we can put on the list as far as being on a campus that is typically smaller than your average college or university, and really being able to get to know the people who are there to help. I don't know of too many places where you can, walk in and you almost have a direct line to Tahisha or Ellen or Jessica or even me. And so, you can get more of that, that personalized, assistance. And when you come in, it's real easy to kind of develop a rapport with the person you're working with, be it your advisor or, whoever it is that you're there to see. But, and when I compare that to my 4-year experience, it was a little bit intimidating when you're at a really big college and you're like, okay, I don't even know where to start. It's like a maze, which way do I go? But yeah, you know, somebody knows somebody at, you know, the technical college level in these communities, because they're serving the communities. And so, you know, like typically I'll get phone calls or receive messages, and I may not be the person to help them, but I could say, well, you know, you can talk to this person in financial aid or this person in admissions, and they should be able to help you. And I think that that's another benefit that comes along with attending a community or technical college in a lot of ways. So Jessica, I think you want to add something to the conversation.
Yeah, I just want to chime in because I'm a first generation college student, so I understand the whole parents not wanting, well, not necessarily not wanting to cooperate, but not understanding the verbiage that goes along with it. So I always let parents know, bug me as much as you want. That's my main thing. I'm not saying bug me, but if you need to contact me consistently just so we can get you the help you need, do that as much as possible. It's not going to bother. It's my job. That's my job to help you get your student where they need to go. And it doesn't matter how many times you contact me not understanding something or how much you don't understand it. We can make it work. And that's another thing that I love about HGTC is that everyone is willing to help. Like every single person that you meet is willing to help you get where you need to go.
All right. Brother,
I want to throw something in there too real quick.
Yeah.
Talking about the parents' involvement with the FAFSA, I know that there is so much information that goes into that, but just on a much smaller scale, the admissions application itself, it's not near as complicated, but it can be done so much faster if you do have a parent right there. If you are dependent and you have a parent close by, you can do it by yourself, but it's just going to make your life a lot easier, make your child's life a lot easier if you are a parent and you can assist with that application. And it's really just because of the residency stuff. We have to ask questions about where the parents work or where they live, where their car's registered, things like that, just to make sure you're getting that in-state residency. It's all about getting in-state residency so you have the lowest cost and can get your tuition paid for by hopefully, South Carolina lottery or whatever it may be. So we love parent involvement. Absolutely.
Yes.
Can I just ask this about HGTC? Are you all exploring any ways of reducing the content for FAFSA? Making it I know it's simple. It could be simple now, but making it even more simpler in order for it to be more far-reaching to simple. I'm going to say "quote unquote" simple people. Okay.
The FAFSA is a federal form, so that we don't get any say in that. And as far as our admissions application goes, we've cut it down just about as much as we can. We think it's pretty simple. It's really the most complicated part is, again, just going to be asking for that parent information about their vehicle registration and employment. And again, that's just to follow South Carolina law to establish residency. So we can't eliminate that, unfortunately, but we have cut it down from what it's been in the past. So I think it's at a pretty good place right now, at least, the admissions application.
I just want to add that the FAFSA now, you can do it on your phone. So a lot of our young people now are tech savvy. So they like completing a lot of stuff on the phone. So the FAFSA used to not be where you can do the phone. I remember the FAFSA was a paper form. So paper to electronic to now you can do it actually on your actual phone. The student have access to see everything on phone now with their emails. So they can complete the process from start to finish, as long as they have their parent with them. Because that's another big thing that students did not know, that they can complete it on the phone versus actually being in front of a computer. So I think it helped a lot with a lot of our new generation babies because they love their phone. That's the easiest way they love to get contact is through the phone.
And they need to be listening to this, what's happening today. I mean, because you're presenting some things to them that they probably thought was just too difficult to go through,
to navigate.
And you all are you're laying it out very, very simple as much as possible, and they should be able to appreciate that.
Well, and I think too that if your future student, college student, is tech savvy, then, and like Tahisha says, if they're able to do it on their phone or whatever device they're comfortable with, which will allow them to access the form and complete the form, then yeah, let them ask you the questions or get the info from you and just have them put it in. And, it could be a family affair, pop some
Absolutely.
popcorn, make it happen, but to your point, Brother Edward, parents have to be completely involved in in it. And again, we're talking more on the side of the spectrum that's all about the traditional student that typically, will need that parental guidance and the information from their parents up to a certain age. But then, we have our mature learners, our career changers who are probably over 25 or, approaching 30 or whatever the case is. And they're thinking about, returning to college or going to college for the first time. And it could be just as daunting for them. So, take advantage of any type of workshops and, financial aid sessions that any college offers in terms of trying to navigate these applications and scholarships and things of that nature so that you don't miss out. And it'll make the process a whole lot easier as well. So, Tisha, I know that you wanted to go over deadlines for applying for financial aid. So let's kind of talk about that real quick, and then we'll, maybe go around the room and everybody can give a great takeaway as far as their area is concerned in this discussion. And, the focus is really the benefits of attending technical and community colleges. And of course, we just happen to have my colleagues here from Horry Georgetown Technical College. So naturally, we're going to hype up where we live, right? But, but overall, when you think about the impact of community and technical college, I think that we can bring it full circle and just kind of give everybody that last little nudge so that they understand why it is important, especially for parents who are trying to help either their children reduce their potential debt, or even they're trying to watch out for their own pockets and figure out how to pay for college for their kids. So, Tisha, let's go back to the deadlines for financial aid.
Okay. One of the major things I want to mention that I probably didn't before, the FAFSA is available a year prior. So let's say right now we're going to be moving into 2021 FAFSA for fall. A student could have already started that FAFSA since last October 1st. So that's when it's available. So it's pretty much almost a year prior the student and parent could have completed the FAFSA. Some deadlines that I try to mention in our office is if a student is selected for verification, our priority deadline to make sure the student is guaranteed fall financial aid, they should at least submit all the documentation in by June 30th. That gives the time for the council to review the file. If there's any questions or anything the council may need, they will email the student, let them know. If there's no further questions, the council will process the verification. Typically in July, that's when we do start the awarding process for fall. So for any student, let's say if they submit their FAFSA in March, we started downloading the FAFSA to where the requirements are shown, I think about 2 or 3 weeks ago. So now if a student has completed the FAFSA, they can actually see the requirements that's needed. It's just up to them to complete it. Another deadline I would mention, we talked about the HGTC scholarship. When a student completing the form, it will tell them the deadline. I actually went on the form myself yesterday and I was a student going to complete it. And it says priority deadline for fall was April 1st. Now, keep in mind, some of our forms just popped up. So the HTC scholarship form, I think it just started about a week or two ago. So if students rush in to complete it now, they have a better chance of getting the funds through the HTT scholarship. But let's say if a student waited till July, well, you have so many students that could have completed their application by then to receive those funds. For spring semester, I think our deadline is about October 1st related to that scholarship. Now, for any student that wants to start school in fall, I would suggest get that FAFSA done now. If you haven't, please get it done now. Do not wait, because the longer you wait, you could be in a situation where you may be selected for verification, or you may have requirements that you need, and we would not be able to tell you until the FAFSA is actually completed and download to our college.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. All right. So gone over deadlines. We've talked about everything under the sun as far as what she could cover in, an hour and some change. But of course, you guys mentioned before that we do have, a connector to all of the departments at Horry Georgetown Tech. If they call Horry Georgetown Tech, or if they go to our website, a lot of this information is available there. And if not, there's always information to tell you how to get in touch with significant people or key people in certain areas if you have any questions. I'm going to just kind of ask any of our viewers, if you have any last questions or comments at this time, go ahead and post them, and we'll definitely moderate those questions and comments for our guests. But, as we're thinking about wrapping up, Brother Edward, I'm going to start with you. What have you learned today? And what do you implore parents to do, and anybody who's interested in going to college, as far as all this good information you heard today?
I guess it all goes back to parent responsibility. Okay. I don't want to be a lecturer on that, but if you don't have that parent or a guardian or a mentor, by the way, if you're lucky enough to have a mentor in high school, someone to provide guidance to you as a student, as a graduating student, someone to provide guidance, then I think you got to be awfully lucky to avoid some of the pitfalls when you first enter, even at Horry Georgetown Tech. Okay, because it's that guidance there that they need, in addition to what you all have to offer, financial aid, and then recruitment coordinator and so forth. That I think that is so crucial, but it's also a big challenge from what I've seen for parents. I mean, again, I'm not knocking all the parents, but that's just key to me. It is, you don't have to. It doesn't have to be a 2-parent home. Single parents are doing a great job out here, wonderful job. It's just that, if they're not providing that good guide and staying on top of that child in terms of getting to a place like Horry Georgetown Tech, which I think is just it's absolutely. If I had to start all over again, I'd probably end up right. I mean, because it's just so much to offer and you don't have to have a whole lot of resources, the way you all explained it anyway. But that's my take on that. I think just parental guidance is key. If not parental, some kind of if a student has a counselor that's going to track him or her all the way, and stay on top of them as if he or she is the parent of that child, and it may come to that in the near future. You may have to do that. Okay, so that's another option. But somebody's got to offer him or her some guidance. Mm-hmm. Okay. When you get to a college like Horry Georgetown Tech, I mean, you all have other jobs to do, and they can make it very frustrating for you all if they don't come there with with something, some kind of guidance. And those kind of children exist. Those kind of students exist. Mm-hmm. Where they just come from nothing, nobody. They were under the tutelage of nobody. Okay, no kind of guidance, no kind of parental. Come there with attitudes, for example. And I know you all. That's frustrating for you all when they come there with an attitude and looking for money. At the same time, that those two they don't work together. You come in with an attitude and they don't try to get your money at the same time. But I'm sure you have those cases, right?
Well, I think it's important to know, or for people to know, that the things that you're saying are very real, and at the same time, I've seen instances at least at our school where if someone had some extenuating circumstances and they needed some support just to even be able to clear their minds long enough to get through the process, we have at the admissions and advising office, that's our first line of contact. Well, I won't say that. Recruitment is really our first line of contact. They're the face of the college, okay? So they're already doing a phenomenal job of making sure that everyone knows what's offered, from a technical college standpoint. But then when that person decides to step out and take the chance and rely on the things that have already been kind of pre-sold to them, what they find is that it can be pretty daunting, but we have people in place, and most colleges do. I think people just don't understand that this kind of help is available, but there's support services in place to help students. And so, our advisors do more than just get you ready for, your first semester of classes. We have counselors who will help you, from a personal standpoint, if there's some things that you need to deal with, or things that may even present themselves as barriers. If you are thinking about the college experience, but you have things that, kind of need to, be identified so that your college experience can be productive and fruitful. There are always people in place. And again, in a community college or technical college setting, to me, it seems to be highly beneficial if you can start there and get a little bit more personalized service. Not to say that four-year colleges don't do that, but the technical colleges tend to be much smaller and have the opportunity to actually meet with students and create more personalized, customized, experiences for them. I mean, we know people who've, done so much as even walk students to class if they were apprehensive about where to go for classes. And, I don't know if it was mentioned in the beginning, but we have 3 campuses: Conway, Myrtle Beach, and Georgetown. So we cover Horry and Georgetown County, and we have people coming in from surrounding areas and from out of state, out of county, to experience what we have to offer. And you're right, Brother Edward, when you take that leap of faith and you decide to do something like that, it can be a very lonely journey if you don't have the proper support. Really? So as much as possible, not down to the parents, because I know the parents are busy and they're trying to work, and then sometimes they come home and they don't even feel like hearing about a form, especially a FAFSA that it can actually make you want to pull your hair out. But there's people who can help. So I'm going to put my 2 cents in about my takeaways from this. Basically, the college experience is for anyone who feels that they are ready for that experience and that they're willing to commit to that experience. And this commitment of time, energy, from a financial aid standpoint or finance standpoint, there's always something to help you, even if you have to take a little bit more time to actually move through the education process. Don't put so much of a time barrier on yourself that you're like, I got to get it done by this time. Yes, you want to set goals, but I think that's the thing that kind of kicks people around and makes them feel like they can't really meet their education goals. If it is that they put themselves on a timeline and things happen, life happens. So if you just remember that the most important part is setting the goal. Set the goal. Understand what you want to do. And if you don't know what you want to do, that's why there are advisors and counselors there to help you understand, just like Jessica talked about early on in this program. Sit down with a career counselor, take a career assessment test, talk to a career coach, who can talk about what the job market looks like. There's always people there who can help you understand what the hot jobs are, the in-demand jobs, what's going on with STEM careers, what's going to be sustainable in 10 to 20 years. And from even this COVID-19 situation, we already know that we got to have medical practitioners, frontline medical people. We got to have technology. There's so many things, even truck drivers. We got to have truck drivers. I mean, we got to have a little bit of everything in order to make it in this world. And so if you are thinking about a community or technical college as an option, it's a great option. It's a great option to help you feel your way through the college process. It's a great litmus test. And it's also a great way for you to save some money while you're doing it, to really find out who you are in the process as well. And you would be surprised at how many other, student engagement activities and other support services are out there. If you need a tutor, there's tutoring, there's, library services, there's, the testing center, there's our Tech Central. They can help you with the technology piece. There's so much, but you got to ask the questions. You got to be committed to it. You can't just, give up the first time you stump your toe on the end of the table. You got to just say, okay, it's time to just, move on and press forward. And before you know it, 2 years are up.
They're gone.
Like Jessica, they're gone. Like Jessica said, you blink, 5 years are gone. And let me tell you something. If I knew that I could get my associate my bachelor's, and an MBA in 5 years, when it would typically take you 4 years to earn your bachelor's. Oh, come on, people. It's like a no-brainer, you know? So I just think that anybody who's considering the community or technical college route, one more piece I want to put out there, and then we'll go to our other guests. I know that recruitment does a good job of getting out into the community. Communities, you need to invite the recruiters in. So the churches, organizations, Brother Edward, you know, call the college and get Ellen and Jessica on, you know, to talk to your youth groups. Right. It doesn't even have to be your youth group. It can be anybody who, you know, organizations, make education a part of what you do if you are mentoring, and make sure that you have people from colleges coming in to talk to these kids all the time, or even, you know, from workforce development who are talking to people about careers that they may not be, you know, college bound in terms of wanting to do, like Jessica said, 2 or 4 years, but we may have a program that only takes a couple of semesters and you can finish it in a year or whatever. And then I know we have some programs where people are in a program for like a year and they're making a lot of change, you know, whenever they graduate. They're making great money from a you know, a community or technical college standpoint. So, you know, it's I'm a cheerleader for it myself. I definitely encourage anyone to consider it who just wants to elevate and move to that next level.
All those requirements that and I'm going to let them talk. All those requirements that you mentioned about what they could be, or what we need. The truck driver is probably the most important. Okay, you got to move that food. You wouldn't have Kroger and Food Line there all stopped for people who are confined there now with the COVID virus, and then go to the store and it's not there. I mean, you need that truck driver.
Yeah, we have the curriculum side and the continuing ed side. We don't have anyone from continuing ed to speak on it today, but you know, you have that side where the programs are even shorter because it's like enrichment and empowerment type programs. So, you know, lots to explore. Lots to take advantage of, lots of benefits with community and technical colleges. So Ellen, what's your greatest takeaway?
Let me unmute. Yeah, that was a lot of really good stuff. And we do all have a new appreciation for truck drivers, that's for sure. And you can get at or Georgetown Technical College. Really, one thing I just kind of want to mention that I don't know if I emphasized enough. We have 65 different majors, and that's just on the curriculum side. So that's not even including a whole nother batch through what April just mentioned, continuing education. So 65 majors, that's so many majors. That's going to be more than the majority of your 4-year universities. So if you are interested, you know, you kind of are liking what you're hearing, I would really encourage you to go to hgtc.edu. Under the academics tab, you can just, you know, academic programs A to Z. There's a list of all of them in alphabetical order. Just start clicking around. The website has so much good information about each one of these majors. The curriculum was listed, and you know, the list of classes is going to be under each of those tabs. The length of program, what the careers look like. I mean, it's important to do that kind of research beforehand. And just the variety that Horry Georgetown has is really unmatched. So I know we've talked about a few of the healthcare in the healthcare field, truck driving, electrical linemen. I mentioned
need the lineman.
One semester of school, you can do it in one summer term and be making a ton of money. And, you know, a lot of them are a year long, and then of course we have 2-year programs as well. But we have them, you know, they're all different links. So much good, you know, money out there, really just money, and you're not going to be paying student loans. So again, if you're enjoying, you know, hearing about Horry Georgetown, please just go, you know, hop over to the website, check out all those different majors. You can find all of, you know, our contact information, myself and all of us, but myself and Jessica in particular, we are the ones that are typically out in the community, as April mentioned. We've been to churches, schools, community fairs. I mean, you name it, we've done it. So we'll be happy to come out and talk to y'all. We really are passionate about it. I know you can hear it in April's voice when she's talking about the school. But I know
I'm career services. I want everybody to get a job.
Yeah,
For everybody to be gainfully employed.
Yeah,
we're all
that
passionate.
helps
Once we
everybody.
work there, we all feel it. And so we are definitely cheerleaders as well. So I just want to thank y'all for this opportunity. And my door's open. So y'all, find our contact information and reach out. We'd love to hear from you.
Absolutely. Tisha.
Okay, I just want to mention that we're like an all big family now. So I enjoyed being on this broadcast today with everyone that's here. And I just want to make sure I mention too that for financial aid side, we're here to assist. So with financial aid solutions, it's available 24/7. Trust me, students call on the weekends, weekday, it doesn't matter. There's someone to at least answer the question that the student has, or if the person can't answer, then we'll make sure to direct them to the right individual. I also just want to mention that for any student that's thinking about attending or potentially thinking about attending our college, just make sure you think about what's best for you when it comes to the cost, when it comes to the environment that you want to have for your particular first year of college, or even if you've been to college before, what's best for you. If you want to start off in a process where you can get more familiarized with the faculty and staff, then our college is a great opportunity for you. Because just for my perspective, I work on a certain letter group, but however, I get students called about any and everything. I get registered questions. So just because we work in one department, we all assist in all the departments. If we don't know the answer, just like Ms. April said, we'll get with someone else to figure out who can we direct you to. Or sometimes I'll just tell the student, if you can hold 1 sec, I can talk to the person for you and find out the information. So we're here to assist the student and the parents. We just need the participation. And if there's anything that I can do on the financial aid side of this questions, please let me know. If you just go on our website, of course, if you go to financial aid forms, the student can see all the forms that we require at the office of different things. I mean, there's a lot of information on there for students if they have questions. And if they have further questions from there, even with the FAFSA actually have their own contact services as well to help the student with the FAFSA. That a lot of students don't know, and they do live chat now. I just found that out last year.
Wow.
So students can do live chat.
You can talk to somebody. Okay. Wow.
They can do a live chat with FAFSA if they have questions or concerns or problem with the FAFSA. Because we have some students that have social security number issues because they type in the wrong number. I can't assist them, but I know FAFSA can. So I send them a direct website to where they can do the live chat or they can do the phone call over the phone. So I just want to say thank you all for at least allowing me to come on the show, and I truly enjoyed everyone.
Absolutely. And Miss Jessica.
All right, guys. So I think my purpose in life is to empower. So I just want this to be a conversation that empowers you to take a step. Even if you're in high school and you're not sure what you want to do, just take that step. If you are someone who is changing careers, take that step. I spoke with a parent just the other day, and she was like, "Oh, I'm a little bit on the older side. I'm not sure if I can do this." I'm like, "Girl, you're seasoned. You can do this." So I want to make sure that everyone leaves this broadcast today feeling empowered. If it's something that you want to do, you step out and you do it. And the help is going to be there for you.
Brother Edward, you want to wrap us up?
Well, look, I'm just blown away by all the information that's coming out. And each time I hear about you, because we've had people from Old Georgetown Tech on our radio program, April, right? And each time, the information that they have to propagate. It's to me, it's so valuable that I just wish I had it when I was that age.
Yeah.
To those kind of opportunities. I don't know. It's just enormous, and I just appreciate you guys coming on. I'm sure that the next time you come on, you're gonna have even more information, right?
Oh yeah, we're probably talking about a new program or something. I'm sure Ellen and Jessica have something to talk about. Yeah,
and I can't wait to take a virtual tour of that manufacturing facility that you have over in Georgetown, right? It's located in Georgetown.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I bet that's something else.
It's a beautiful building. It really is.
Yeah.
Definitely an asset to Georgetown County.
Absolutely.
Yes. Well, it's been a great discussion, and you know how much I appreciate all of you. Thank you so much for joining me this evening. Brother Edward gave me this opportunity some years ago to just be a part of community news, community radio, and it's actually evolved into this, Brother Edward. And but I think it's great because we do have the opportunity to bring on some wonderful guests in different areas and industries to just talk about whatever we want to talk about. And I'm so blessed that I work with all of you. Thank you so much for being here. And there's some, kudos in the comments. I hope you guys are reading it from our colleagues and from others. Thank you all for watching. Of course, this will be available for replay later on. We will post it to Whittemore Community Magazine's YouTube page, and we'll make links available later on for replay, because there was a lot of good information here that everyone can certainly absorb and pass on to others who may need it. So until next time, Brother Edward, do we have a guest for?
To our young people, don't worry about the money. About this, don't let that be a part of something. And when you want to get to, especially like Orange Georgetown Tech, for example, just wipe the money away. Just let you all handle that. Okay, this is to the students. Okay, just to tell them, let people like you all handle that. They just apply. Okay,
just take the first step. Take the first step.
Right. So next week.
Yeah. Who do we have next week?
We got this time to vote. We got the elections coming up.
Yeah, elections coming up. We have some guests who are going to be talking about voting and all that good stuff, getting ready for the major election in November. So you'll see more about that on social media and also through the e-blast that Brother Edward sends out. And thank you all again for tuning in. We really do appreciate it. We hope that everyone continues to have a great week. And don't forget, the Network Live will broadcast on this coming Friday at 4 p.m. My padre, my partner in crime on Fridays is Dr. Winston McIver Jr. from Waccamaw Primary Care. He comes on with the COVID-19 updates. And I'm not sure who we're going to have as a special guest. Maybe it'll be a little surprise. But, we'll.
I gotta say about Doc. Doc will have some information each time.
Every time.
Every time.
The man, he's a numbers person. He loves it.
Yeah. So kudos to Doc. He comes in with some stuff. You just gotta listen. Okay?
Yeah.
He has it there for you.
Absolutely.
This
so
Friday,
everyone,
4 o'clock.
Friday, 4 o'clock, the Network Live. So everyone stay safe. Thank you very much. And we're coming up on Memorial Weekend. So have a safe Memorial, social distancing, physical connection, social distancing. I think Doc coined that. Was it physical connection? Physically connected but socially distant, or so. I have to. Doc, what were the words, Doc? Come back with it. But he has a little saying that he came up with, and basically it's all about being able to connect. No, it's physically distant, socially connecting. I believe that's how he says. So just make sure that you all practice safe measures, and we will see you next Monday at 6 p.m. Thanks so much, everyone.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys. Thank you guys.
Thank you, guys.
Bringing us this information. Appreciate it.
No problem. Thanks.
All right. Thank you. Have a good one.